Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are now doing our live student designer panel. So we have 3 of our design students here with us today. So they will go ahead and introduce themselves and then they will present their senior line for you all.
Woo!
Hi, I'm Annabelle Schofield, and I'm a graduate of Iowa State, and I have my line called Equinox.
Hi, my name is Lexi Stump, and I'm a senior graduating here soon in a few weeks, and I have my senior line called Colored that I'll show you soon.
And my name is Natasha Weibowo. I'm also a senior graduating in a couple weeks, which is crazy. And my senior line is entitled Ivory.
Woo!
Okay, Annabelle, you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, great. Let me share my screen. Oh. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So my line is called Equinox and had a little tagline for you, voila. My mission was that we provide a contemporary balance of feminine and masculine for the community of eccentrics while keeping sustainable practices at hand. And in the middle, I have Jane Birkin, who I kind of took all my inspiration for my design line from. This is my mood board, and it has a lot of European kind of takes with simplicity and just the overall color palette. The trends that I used were ruching all-in-one, a feminine leverage, high neckline and puffy sleeves, asymmetry, and some oversized pieces. Here's my color board. Just took all of my colors from this flower picture. And then I was able to make my own fabrics to use in the line. I have Sundic, Celestial Being, and Nightly Occurrence. And then I have my research on my target market. I have the better market and for women's dresses and nicer occasions for autumn. Then I go into deeper research on my target market, kind of like the younger 20-year-olds, mid-20s, and that's their lifestyle kind of just listed out. Then I have a consumer profile. I made up a character, and this is just kind of a overall mood of her lifestyle. And then I did research throughout all of those and came up with these and what their values in clothing were so I could cater to those. And I noticed that a lot of them wanted style and sustainability in their clothing. So I made sure to include those in the line. This would be the budget of our consumer. So my Reformation competition was kind of their style, which was elegant and sustainable and also pretty simplistic for kind of a modern woman. Zara was kind of has those full collection. Then I have my technical flats for all of the dresses. And I did kind of shorter dresses that were a bit conservative on top and then shorter because that was just kind of the mood of the 60s, which I was doing Birkin, so I took my inspiration from there. I had my packaging made from recycled paper with soy ink, just to give a little edge of sustainability in the overall circular kind of company, I guess. And then I followed through with that in the hang tags and labels. This is the cost sheet that we would go through for each of the dresses, and then a drop one line plan for parts of the line, so when we would drop each of the dresses. And then we have the promotional flyers, things that you would get in your email or on Instagram, just to put the word out there. And then a website, new arrivals. And then book. We have this dress, and I wanted to keep the feminine part of the dresses, and then also did a photo shoot with Meat Bullies, which is one of my nonprofits, which is all of her mixes and reducing the stigma off of their violent parts of their nature. So I paired them with the dresses for the marketing campaign. And yes, these are them. And I had to give them their own slide because they played a big part in the lookbook. And
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We loved that. Lexi, you can now go next.
Okay, perfect. Can you guys see my screen? Okay. So this is my line called Colored. My name is Lexi Stumpf. I'm the brand creator. I'm an aspiring women's wear creative designer or stylist. And when searching for inspiration for my collection, I just looked to the Black Lives Matter movement because that was what was really going on in my life at the time. So I knew it was something I wanted to include in my designs. So the reason that my line is called Colored is because it's reclaiming and redefining this outdated and offensive term and giving vibrant life and meaning to a word meant to oppress. So kind of flipping that script and trying to give a new definition. So I further go into that within this brand statement, just saying how most clothing that I've seen is like really catered towards European body types. And I wanted to make a clothing line that's specifically catering to women of colors body types, and including in that just different fabrics, different colors, different textures that really complement and flatter women of colors body types the most and really stretch to accentuate natural curves and stuff like that. This is my mood board that I created. I included a lot of different like ranges of browns and tans just because I wanted to really hone in on that range of skin tone to go along with my theme. But I also included some like burnt oranges and fuchsias you'll see a little later just because that really is those two colors were really good in complementing skin tones as well. This is the customer pro. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, maybe if I don't have my video. it will work. So this was where I left off, just the interview results. So I interviewed these different women, just asking different things like fit considerations, different issues that they've had with the fit of their clothing, as well as what they would dress up for and what kind of occasions they would wear my garments for. And so my key research findings, I just kind of collected that into a slide, and just these statements are mainly about how they felt not really included in society within being a mixed race. So they felt a constant feeling of like too white for the Black kids and too Black for the white kids. And they're willing to spend more on a brand if they know it's a cause that they would support. And just how they feel like there's not a lot of representation. And if there is, it's not really exactly shined in the right light that they would like to be shown in. So this is really what the brand is trying to fix in society. And then, so these are my market research. So these are just different Black owned brands that I feel like are cohesive with what this brand would be like and would be comparable in price. This was the color board I put together, just different shades of tan and brown again. And then I mixed in the tangerine and fuchsia for a pop of color. These are the design elements that my line features. So things like puff sleeve, cutout, corset, hook and eye closure, and underbust cutoff. These are the prints that I developed, as well as fabric swatches from the fabrics I chose. So I chose 100% silk because of preserving natural oils and skin. I wanted to choose a fabric that wasn't going to dry out the skin too much, because that is something that a lot of the participants said that they try to preserve on a daily basis. And these are the final fashion illustrations for the first 3 looks and the other 3. These are my tech flats. And these are the final garments when I showed them. So I did a romper and a kind of cape thing with jeans. So the cool thing about these jeans is that they have a 1-inch elastic band on the center back waist. You can't see it in this photo, but that will help with like the gapping issue that a lot of the participants said that they have with their jeans, as well as this fabric is seriously the most stretchy fabric I've ever felt. So it'll really do a good job of making sure to accentuate to all natural curves and not feeling too straight leg or constricted. With this romper, I chose to do different details like hook and eye closures and a bust cutout detail to really bring that elegance and sense of refinement to the clothing. Once again, just trying to emphasize giving these women more of an elegant and luxury space in society that I feel like they haven't been given before. These are the labels and hang tags that I would use. These are the packaging that I would use, which are plant-based mailers, as well as a web media campaign, just talking about how this brand is inclusive and sustainable and just really emphasizing what this brand is here to do. And this was just a little thing I included with customer feedback. And this girl wrote to me explaining how this brand like really meant a lot to her with what I'm trying to do, and how she's always kind of felt the same emotions that I've been feeling, and just talking about it and giving her a space to feel included in that was really special. So that was something that I felt like really tied everything together for me at the end and reminded me why we're here. And yeah, that is the end of my presentation.
That works for me. Let me just pull it up here quickly. We're just going along with the theme this year of metamorphosis. We're just gonna, keep moving forward and just grow. So this is totally cool. Okay, perfect. Can you guys see my screen? Excellent. All right. Well, again, my name is Natasha Weibowo. This is my senior collection entitled Ivory. So kind of just outlining the presentation, we'll be going a little bit behind my brand and then dive into the research, inspiration, and the final collection. So a little bit about myself. My name's Natasha. I go by Tosh, kind of like my alter ego, or kind of just the brand that I have developed throughout my years at Iowa State. So after a couple years here is when I finally kind of found my vision and kind of my aesthetic and what I really like to design. So my brand kind of combines the classic silhouettes, cool attitudes with a dash of edge. So the women in this market find that sweet balance of finding the pieces that are effortlessly put together while also maintaining comfort. So some big values of mine. Fast forward to now, I have a background as a bridal stylist. I've been fortunate to live in Los Angeles for an internship experience. So kind of all those elements kind of shaped me into the designer I am today. So this collection is going to be a streetwear collection that also combines the details of the bridal industry. So really mixing the two different worlds of kind of like elegant, soft, and really detail oriented in the bridal industry, and combining it with the more edgy streetwear vibe into this line. So Ivory is going to be a feminine streetwear line, combines the high-end details of bridal with the more kind of edgy, casual looks of streetwear. So a little bit about the research behind the brand. For our senior lines, we had to develop surveys and kind of reach out to whoever your target market may be. So this is kind of just some of the research that I summarized from my findings there. So my target is really going to be women who are ages mid to late 20s. They kind of are making a life for themselves through their work, living on one of the coasts, primarily the East Coast, kind of that lifestyle, that kind of vibe. They're trendy, chic, glamorous, but also not afraid to speak up, very strong-minded and classy as well. So that's kind of what I found from my research. And then for my inspiration, this is me at Joann's, just loving life. So what I really got inspiration from were more of the elevated essentials, everyday glam, very minimal, but very classy. And for my color scheme, there is no color. It's achromatic, it's all white or ivory. And I really focused on kind of the details and the mix of textures, and that is really what stood out to me. So for my packaging, again, kind of just sticking with that same aesthetic, very sleek and simple. And so going into the actual collection, these are my 6 final looks that I developed. So kind of a range of jumpsuits to 2 pieces to dresses, everything like that. To be worn on multiple different occasions, can be dressed up, dressed down, just for the woman who likes to be a little bit more extra, likes to dress it up a bit. So that's really where I got my inspiration from. These are the fabrics I used. So again, it's all the same color tone, but very different in textures, and kind of playing around with the different patterns and like the brocade, and mixing the weights of the fabric, kind of a more heavy satin with a light tulle, and kind of just contrasting in that way. So going into the specifics, so for these 2 out of the 6 looks, these were the 2 that I created physically. We do normally make all 6 of them in senior line, but because of COVID, we had to kind of downsize and just focus on a couple pieces instead, and just work with the time that we had. So these are the 2 looks that I ended up creating, Stella and Elle. They are the 2 kind of like 2-piece matching 3-piece sets. And then Genevieve and Laurel are the 2 dresses of the collection. So again, kind of tying in like the same corset in Laurel as the previous slide. So kind of repeating those elements and making it cohesive. And then Serene and Ariella are going to be the jumpsuit romper combo of the line. So with these, you have pieces that you can take off and on. So like on the Serene, there's this tulle overlay kind of cape that you can take off or you can put on depending on the look you're going for. And same with the Ariella, it's a romper with a removable skirt and sleeves as well. So this is going to be Stella, the first look I showed from the few slides ago. It's going to be the corset and the pants with the tulle accents for the sleeves and the little pant hems. And then this one is the Elle, the 3-piece. So it's a matching jacket and shorts. They're made with the brocade fabric. The jacket is lined, which was fun to work with, but I'm glad with how it turned out. And then the bralette top as well that goes with that. So that concludes my senior line.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for sharing. Those were all extremely beautiful, and I'm kind of jealous of everyone's talents. But we are just going to go ahead and ask you guys a few questions. So if you all just want to take turns answering.
My question was, what was the hardest part of creating your senior line?
I can go first. I feel like a challenge that I had was that I sourced my fabrics from Minnesota SR Harris, which they only have certain amounts of fabric in stock. So I got this fabric that I was in love with, and then when I went to go get more because I ran out of it with my designs, they didn't have it in stock. So I had to get really creative with. That's why I did a lot of the color blocking where I mixed and matched different pieces of fabric. So just running out of fabric was a challenge for me, but also it allowed me to be more creative with my designs and kind of mix and match and work with what I had.
Yeah, and I guess I'll go next. So a big challenge for my line, I think that, I mean, I could probably speak for everyone that everyone kind of probably had was the time constraints of creating the line. Obviously, our semester got a little wacky with COVID and everything, so we weren't able to have full access to the sewing labs as we normally would. So you really have to manage your time correctly. And I mean, at least I know for me, in a normal semester, when I go to the sewing lab, you catch up with your friends, you kind of chat, work hard and play hard, but with the time constraints and only having limited access to the lab, you really had to go in and do your thing and get out. So that was definitely a huge difference from previous semesters, but we obviously all made it through. So
thank you guys so much. I have another question for you guys. Where do you see your personal brand growing to within the next 5 years?
That's a good question. I feel like I could see myself maybe after the fashion show's over. I've had people take interest in buying some of my garments. So I think I would sell the ones that I've made already, but also I would like to branch out with my brand and make just more everyday pieces that I could sell on my website or something that something like the jeans that I made, just everyday staples that people could buy from my website, basically.
I think for me personally, that is a good question. I think developing my personal brand and my experience has been something that not only affects, what we do in school, but just kind of my creative outlet outside of that as well. So, I mean, obviously when we all graduate and, get jobs maybe for working for other companies, even though that won't be necessarily for our own brand, won't necessarily be um, creating clothes on your own, for your own company or anything like that. I think it's something, just finding your voice and finding your kind of vision can help kind of just guide yourself in life and kind of apply it to wherever you may end up. Even if you're not, at least for me, not going to create my own company right now. But I think it's something that has helped me just figure out who I am as a person, and I can just kind of grow personally from that outside of Iowa State and outside of class.
We do have a question, one more question from the chat. Megan says, do you all plan to go into the industry in the area that your senior line focuses on? Do you want to start your own brand or work for a company that follows the same values as your inspirations?
I think this is kind of going off of what Natasha and Annabelle were starting to say too, but I think that it would be great to follow a company that had maybe working in the industry and just getting that experience under my belt for a few years. And I of course would want them to have the same goals that I have and the same kind of viewpoints on things like sustainability and inclusivity, and then kind of learning from them. So when you work from the company, you can kind of see how they run their operations, what companies they source from, different things like that you can gather and kind of keep in your own back pocket for maybe one day if I did want to start my own brand. And that way I would know from their example what kind of steps I would need to take and what kind of industry experience I would need to like kind of bring to the table. So maybe starting off with a different brand first, and then after I get all that experience, then I could come back and kind of try and start my own brand.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with what Lexi said. I think even if you end up working or interning with a company that doesn't 100% match your like personal creative aesthetic or anything like that, you can still learn from any company and see how they do things and kind of take that, kind of soak up everything that you learn and apply it to your own future goals, whether that's starting your own brand, whether that's having like your working for your dream company, anything like that. You can just kind of learn with all your experiences and apply that to your own future.
Yeah, I would agree with that because also if you can work within a company that already has a big audience, you can really learn and develop. Maybe if you have the same aesthetics and values as a brand, you can work that into them and still go with their audience.
All right, we have one more question. Lindsay asked, what made you guys choose Iowa State? Was it the AMD program itself, the school atmosphere in general, etc.?
I think for me, it was definitely the AMD program. Just I knew since I was like a senior in high school that I definitely wanted to go into fashion. And so I started to research what schools would be best for fashion. And Iowa State kept appearing in the top 5 as like the best for especially merchandising, but also design. And that kind of led me to just do more research into the AMD program. And since I'm already from Des Moines, it was like a really quick commute. So I just knew it kind of made sense rather than to travel somewhere really far. There's already a really great program somewhere that's really close to home for me.
That's pretty much the exact same for me as well. The AMD program has done a lot for me, and I feel like I can definitely take a lot out of what we learn here in Ames, Iowa, and apply it anywhere. I think for me, I have the confidence that the education that I was given can really take me anywhere. So I think that's why I chose Iowa State, and campus is beautiful as well, so can't complain.
I also kind of chose it based off of the AMD program. I kind of had that same experience. And then I visited the campus, pretty much the last straw, and I just really wanted to go there after that. It seemed kind of like a perfect fit.
Sorry, I was muted. Bella asked, like Lexi said, with selling her line, would anyone else like to do that?
I currently don't have any plans to sell anything. At least for me, some of my pieces took so long to make as one person. So if I don't know, I currently don't have any plans. But that would be cool. That would be cool. And I'm proud of you, Lexi, because you're doing some crazy, crazy cool things.
Yeah, for right now, I think I'm mainly wanting to work for a different company, just fresh out of school. Yeah, but owning your own brand sounds really cool, and I'm excited to see where Lexi and her brand goes. Sounds really cool.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have. We want to say a huge thank you to all the designers. Your lines are super amazing, and it was so cool to hear all your inspiration and kind of what went into making your collection. So thank you so much for coming. And that ends day 1 of Behind the Scenes. So thank you all.
If you guys would like to, please tune in tomorrow from 12 to 4. We have some great sessions tomorrow, as well as a student panel to end our behind the scenes weekend. But thank you guys so much, and we will see you tomorrow at noon.
You guys are amazing. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.